it's got to go back to JFK and conspiracy theories. And it's like at a certain point, you've got to realize if the government is lying to you about certain things to push a certain narrative and move things a certain way, there is overwhelming evidence that there is something from outside of what we perceive as our normal everyday life.
Well,
and they've been lying to us about it forever.
Two things. The term conspiracy theory is something that was coined by the CIA to make us all think that, you know, anybody who believed the truth was a psycho.
Right.
Right.
The second thing is that you guys seem to have, did you guys find any evidence about Carbondale?
Oh, yeah. Right? Like,
well, so you want to give people the backstory on Carbondale, which is right up the road from here? What was that, early 70s?
On November 9th, actually, so it's like right up on the
anniversary.
Yeah.
Just came up on the anniversary.
We always seem to hit this right around the anniversary.
Yeah, it was November 9th.
This is cool.
So what's the claim?
I mean, so it was November 9th, 1974. It was the Gillettes, right?
Yep.
They were kids and they were riding their bikes at night and they saw a giant light fall out of the sky. They were on Salem Mountain. The light that they saw fell into Carbondale. There was a silt pond by the baseball field. They called 911 and they got there, but they were there before everyone else really showed up, and they saw a giant light inside of the pond, like glowing. And
right.
When the police got there, they contacted the military, etc. It turned into a huge thing. They never said what it was that was in the pond or what they took out of it. So we took it upon ourselves to interview. We interviewed Maria Gillette, and she was the girl that was there when she was a kid. She's older now, but she told us a lot of crazy stuff.
Was that the woman that you got the three you were sitting across from? Yeah. So what was some of the stuff she told you? I got a little reinvigorated in this because they re-released Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one about whatever happened up in Massachusetts was really compelling. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was like a shared experience amongst.
Was it the Berkshire UFO?
Is that the one that moved that they saw, like different parts of the town saw it?
Yeah, I think it was that one.
Yeah.
Berkshire,
and I just thought it was so well done that it kind of like reinvigorated me on the UFO thing where I was like, okay.
Did she say on that video that somebody told her if you talk about what you saw at the bottom of this lake, then you'll end up there too?
Carbondale Chief of Police.
Yeah.
Get out of Dodge. All right, so take me through this story a little bit.
So they had saw this thing fall into the pond.
Yeah.
Glowing underwater for like the longest time, and then
when you say the longest time, like 20 minutes, 3 days.
Oh, no,
they blamed it. They blamed
hours
it on
hours.
The story is that they blamed it on a lantern. They said somebody threw a lantern in the pond.
That was the official story. Was that it was a railroad lantern that was underwater somehow glowing for 9-10 hours.
And the lantern company was contacted.
Yeah, it was a railroad job, right?
Yeah. The lantern that they took out, they contacted the lantern company, and they said it wouldn't have lasted not even an hour underwater.
Right.
Maria Gillette even said that like when they pulled this lantern out to like debunk the theory that it had like a Sugarman sticker like on it. Like,
just recently bought down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the diver that went in, I mean, the water was very contaminated. There was radiation and all that.
What?
And
it was a runoff from like coal mining.
So the diver, he was actually on house arrest.
The diver?
He lived in New York. So he said if they could sign off and let him go out of the state, he would go on the water. But when he got the lantern,
nobody else wanted to go in?
No one wanted to go in.
Oh, wow.
And so the police were in the boat. The diver goes, "Here's your fucking lantern." He threw it at them and got out of the water. Like, yeah, it was almost like he knew he had
shot at whatever this was.
Yeah, they shot 6 rounds.
Wait, what?
Yeah, shot a revolver.
This sounds like this sounds like something that you'd hear about like in Alabama.
He threw the light into the boat. And the police shot it in the boat.
No, they were shooting into the water
before anybody went in.
Before they went in to get the lantern. I think the diver was almost mad. It came off like they put the lantern in there and told him to go back in and get it. So it looked like they pulled out what they wanted to get out.
Before the diver went in,
they got whatever they wanted to get. And
while
the
glowing light was underwater, the police shot at it.
And this doesn't sound like a grand conspiracy. It sounds like ineptitude under the guise of it, or maybe it is a grand conspiracy that just so happens to coincide with ineptitude. Yeah. Maybe this is why these things are so hard to believe.
Well, they went in and they pulled something out of this pond.
Oh yeah, Dan just pulled up the illustration.
In like, in the middle of the night, they pull in like a military flatbed truck.
Yeah.
And pull something big out of this pond. Mm-hmm. And they said it was like, it was old mining equipment. It was scheduled to be removed in the middle of the night after all this crazy shit. Like, come on, dude, you're not even. And
trying. I talked to people who have.
Not even trying.
But it was like a big trailer, and it had like the Flight of the Navigator tarp on it.
Yep.
And I had to talk to people like when they were kids. They remember their parents having to move their cars off the road to get it through.
I believe
Like it
that
was
was
a
one of
giant.
the most consistent things we heard
Yeah.
from everyone who was witness, or that they took something that was under a cover out on a truck. That
Something
wasn't
for
a
sure
lantern,
went out.
obviously.
Yeah.
yeah.
But no one could see what it was.
No.
I talked to somebody. Their father did see the shape of the tarp at least,
Right.
and he said it looked a lot like a bell shape. So
That's
if
often
you,
referred to, bell shape.
yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
Kecksburg.
yeah. Even if you look at the Kecksburg, the UFO,
In
it's the
our,
same exact shape that
episode
they were
we visited.
Oh,
describing.
the one that you were like
The
doing
space
this.
acorn,
Yeah.
Fake
Yeah,
hold
it's like
it.
an
Yeah.
acorn. Well, I mean, but you go back to World War II and Nazis when they were trying to work on time travel. And
Glocken.
and they
They
had
had that bell.
the
What's
bell.
Die Glocken?
That was like a Nazi super weapon that
It
they
was-
were
yeah,
trying
they
to
were
develop.
trying. They were working on time travel with a bell, but it wasn't a bell. It was just shaped like a bell, but it was like some sort of a piece of equipment.
How have I never heard of this? What was it? Die Glocken?
If you
think
Google
that's what
Die
it's called,
Glock,
right?
yeah, Die Glock. It's German for the bell.
Uh,
Oh,
that's
that's
a-
juice.
the Kecksburg UFO, they have a replica of it there that you can see. But I believe that was later on confirmed to be a Soviet satellite.
right,
Right.
like a spy satellite or
Right.
something like that.
So that was kind of a debunk, even though it was a UFO and they have it there and they have like a little plaque about it and stuff. It was, they found out what it was later on, years
Yeah, but
later.
they don't. I mean, so all the research that they do, right? Because whether or not you want to believe it, they do research some of it. It's like 99% can be explained away,
Sure.
and 1% they just can't explain what it is. There's
Well,
only
that's how
so many
that's how
times you can
conspiracy
use.
theories start.
There's only so many times you can use swamp gas.
Right. Right.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Before people are like, it's downtown.
Yeah. There's no swamp.
Yeah, how the hell did that happen? So what was that lady saying to you that witnessed it? What was her name?
Maria
Gillette.
Maria Gillette.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you? It seems like a fun thing. Like it's a fun endeavor. Like
It
it's
was
just
a lot
something to
of fun.
do.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And we tried to come at it with an open mind, but also with kind of like in a fun way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
in like a stuffy data and numbers and this, that. Like
Yeah, it's
that's
not
what
60
a lot
minutes.
a lot of the documents we found were interesting, but really boring too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, if we're gonna kind of pursue this and interview people, and we'll do it in a at least in a fun way.
Yeah.
So by
With
the end of
beers.
by the end of that year, after talking to all these people, were you guys more or less convinced, or were you always convinced?
I'm convinced that they're really passionate about covering something up if they think it's something. But I mean, their response is so fast
But
that they have
why?
to be right. That's what I'm saying. But I mean,
That's always been my question: is like, why?
I mean, I think we kind of came to the conclusion of like probably the best description for what that thing was most likely probably a satellite, some kind of Russian
I heard
A
so.
satellite that
which-
ironically came down
Well-
in the contaminated pond in Carbondale.
Tell
gotta
them what
land
you
somewhere.
found out about the map as far as like the Air Force Base and
oh yeah, I was super drunk again, and
It seems like a
I
theme.
was. It was for sure. And there was that crash in Kecksburg and the crash in Carbondale. So the crash in Carbondale and Kecksburg, I heard that they both had the same shape.
Right.
So I assumed orbit, and I started drawing a pencil on the map. And if it was taking that orbit to where it would pass both Carbondale and Kecksburg, it's right on path with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So if it is a Soviet satellite, it's got a great destination. You know what I mean?
Or at least it's going to go over good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, there's rumors of Hangar 18 being there where they brought the Roswell debris, stuff like that. There were supposedly bodies there at the hangar. So, I mean, that was 1947. We're in 1974, but they might be trying to look at the Air Force Base.
yeah,
Did
even,
you
if,
know
it was,
any of
even if it
this?
was like military
Either
tactics
an
trying to figure out how to take out an Air
incredible
Force Base.
coincidence or Shane nailed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it can all be coincidence or.
But
I'll go ahead, Mike.
No,
Do you know what else is up towards that way?
Huh.
Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
There's a lot of stuff there.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, Lockheed Martin, I mean, they run Skunk Works and everything else. So,
Gentex.
But if they're gonna lie to you about 4% of the story, then the other 96% doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like again, to go back to it, like the
But people do
ultimate-
this all the time, man. It's like you go on the fishing trip, but I caught a fish that was this big.
Right.
You know? Like all the other details about the fishing trip are innocuous, except for, did you hear how big of a fish he caught?
Yeah.
And it seems like that's the thing that they change. for some reason that
But if
serves
you're-
no one's
But
purpose.
if you're changing any details when you tell the story, it's because you're covering up something or hiding something or lying for something or someone.
It's entirely possible.